We're joined today by Matt Rehnstrom of CleanStream, and he's going to talk to us about how organizations focus on the customer experience in process improvement and how to get that done. Matt, I want to begin by talking about organizations usually focus on process. It tends to focus internally. Why should a customer's experience be seen as the foundation for an organization's processes?
First and foremost, the most important thing is, of course, that all organizations exist because they should create value for someone, and that someone is the customer. And we have other stakeholders as well, but the main thing is to create a value that the customer can use. And of course, in that case, we need to look into the customer and what the customer both wants and needs. And when we talk about the customer experience, then it's important to understand that the customer is on a journey and we are visiting the customer on their journey. It's not vice versa, which we many times think that the customer comes to us. They can physically come to us, but we are just a part of their journey. If you take, for example, a bank, if you want to lend money as a homeowner, then the bank is just visiting the customer on their journey from the dream of a house to a house, instead of them coming into our loan process, mortgage process. So that's why we need to look at the customer, understand their journey, their experience, because that is the process.
Well, that's a great point you just mentioned, and leads to my second question. What are the keys for an organization to really understand the customer experience and trying to and tying it to process improvement?
First of all, you need to see who is the customer, and many times you see that the next organization is your customer, but that's not true. I think that we have what is popularly called the end users out there, and we need to see that as the customer, and together with others in that flow, we need to understand that we together deliver value for that customer. So that's the first key, to understand them, that we have a common customer that we work with together and deliver value.
Yeah, you mentioned something earlier that I want to talk about as well. What's the difference between what a customer needs and a customer wants? And what are some ways organizations can identify and focus on customer wants?
Or needs.
Yeah,
it's actually the needs. The wants is fairly easy, because that's what, if you ask a customer, they say what they want. Many times the need is a little hidden. We need to understand the customer. We need to understand the customer experience. We need to understand what the customer really needs in order to be satisfied. And we can take Ford, I usually take as an example, because Ford, in the beginning of the 1900s, if they asked the customer, as Ford said also, that the answer would be that the customer wants fast horses. But Ford was not in the horse industry, they were in the car industry. So they produced something that the customer really needed instead of just
wanted.
Yeah, just wanted, because they couldn't grasp their needs. The same goes with the iPhone. If you look at the iPhone, you can see before 2007, nobody really wanted an iPhone. People needed something that was easier to work with than all the menus that we struggled with on the old phones. And then the iPhone came, and voila, now every phone is almost an iPhone-like phone.
So you believe in treating other organizations as partners in delivering the value for your customers. How does this work?
You need to understand, again, back to that we see the end customer, the end user. if we do that, we can talk to the others along the chain of creating the value. And together, we can make the customer experience a wonderful one instead of just mediocre one. Because if everybody works for themselves, and if I see just the next chain link as my customer, and they're seeing the next chain link as their customer, and so on, and in the end we have the end customer, we will not be able to satisfy the end customer in the correct way. But if we have 5 links and we say that we're 5 partners delivering this value to the end user, we can do so much better.
Mm-hmm. And what advice would you have to companies or organizations that are trying to do this approach?
I would say, first of all, to identify who the customer is, what value do they deliver, and they also need them to understand, again, who are their partners in delivering that value to the customers. Mm. And if you understand that, first of all, then you can start with the processes and look into that, because you have the overall view of what you're doing here and what's the purpose with your existence and who are you satisfying them. So you need to understand the pieces and then to start from there to optimize it.
Yeah, you stated throughout this interview and in your breakout session that the most important objective is to satisfy the customer. But what is the key to measuring if your processes are satisfying the customer and reaching your goals that you have?
In that case, you need to measure. You need to measure your processes. Again, if you back up and we say that we have these 5 steps and we have a customer, we see the main flow. Then if we map out the processes that we have in order to satisfy the customer, we can then start to measuring it. The issue here is that you can't measure anything that you can't see. So if you don't see the processes, if you haven't designed them, you can't measure them. The other is that you can't control what you don't measure. So you need to measure the processes. And then you can start to improve. And of course, you need to talk to the customer and understand the customer's experience of you and your partner's delivery.
Mats Rehnstrom from CleanStream, thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.